HVAC business, and how 0% interest business funding can actually help you fund or expand your business to another location or be able to use the funds for other things in your business. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start off for what you actually need to start an HVAC business. A lot of you that already have an HVAC business probably already know what this entails. So basically, what you have is HVAC tools and equipment. So your service vehicle, of course, your initial inventory, your licensing, insurance, and certifications, uniforms and branding, office setup, as well as business software like invoicing, scheduling, QuickBooks, CRM, and then a website and digital marketing, as well as basic legal setups, LLC, EIN, business bank account, and things like that, which will be very, very important for when it comes to getting funding. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. So as far as estimated costs to start an HVAC company, so these are just ballpark numbers, but it is the average of basically what it is in the United States. So equipment and tools can be between $5,000 and $10,000. The service vehicle can be between $10,000 and $25,000. The licensing, insurance, certifications can be between $3,000 and $5,000. The inventory can be between $2,000 and $4,000, as well as marketing and websites would be $2,000 to $6,000, as well as business software, which would be $1,000 a year, and then the legal setup, which can be between $500 and $1,000 per setup. So the total range for all of this is usually between $25,000 and $50,000 to go ahead and get everything started and running for your HVAC business. Okay. So now let me show you the usual ways of what everybody does to go and get funding for their actual business. So most people go and get a loan. The reason that's a problem is because loans, you have to pay a bigger amount back per month. Whereas if you use 0% interest business credit cards, then the payment's going to be a lot lower per month, and you can also get access to a bigger amount of capital, right? So if you go and get a loan, you'll probably get a loan for $50,000, right? We can get you $50,000 with one credit card, So like just for example, and then there's other ways to get us more than $50,000, where we usually get $50,000 to $150,000 for our clients. Okay, so that's just one of the ways that most people actually get funding. The other way is they usually try to use their savings. So they try to save up a couple months, to try to build everything up so that way then they can start their HVAC company. But that's a lot of wasted time, and it's very difficult to try to save that much money on, especially when you're maybe just working a regular job or anything like that. Okay, so here's what we do instead, and you can do this too. So what we do is we actually get funding from banks, okay, that are $50,000 to $150,000 using 0% interest business credit cards. Okay, the reason this is so important is because we can hit multiple banks, okay, in certain sequences, and we can get approved. We've done this for hundreds of our clients, and it's super, super important that you have to line everything up correctly, so that way when you get funding, you actually get approved for all of these cards. Okay, so that's that's pretty much the better way to go ahead and get funding. All right, now how do you get this funding, right? So this is a super, super important reason why, and a lot of people get denied because they don't have the proper setup when it comes to getting funding. So most people think it's just going to an application to a bank and then filling out the information. That's not true. There's a lot of different things that you have to business prep before you actually go and get funding, okay? So I'm going to have a list of all of those things here so that way you can see. So the first thing is the LLC. You want to make sure you have an LLC. And then you want to make sure you have an EIN that's connected with that LLC. Obviously, you want to have a business bank account that goes with this. The other big thing that banks look at that a lot of people would take for granted is a professional email. So you must have a business email. Now, what does that mean? That means, support team at yourbusiness.com. Okay, so you can't have at gmail.com. Then the banks see you as not a real business then, okay? And the other thing is have a business phone number. So if somebody calls the business phone line, it needs to basically represent your business, okay? The other thing is domain and basic website. So they do check to see if you have a website for your business. So that way you're legitimized and they know that, okay, this is a real business that's actually running, and they're currently, have customers and things like that. So those are the basic setup things. The other thing is to apply for a DUNS number. So what does DUNS mean? So DUNS is short for Dun & Bradstreet. And you can go and get a DUNS number for free for your business. Okay, so once you get your LLC and your EIN, you can actually use that information and go ahead and apply for a DUNS number. Now it's super easy to do. All you do is go to Google and you'll just type in DUNS number, and you can put request a DUNS number. then you can go ahead and hit get started and basically fill out the rest of the information. It is free. They will offer you higher packages for like, expedited shipping, things like that. You can do that if you want to, but you can really just go ahead and get a DUNS number for free, and they usually get back to you with a number fairly quickly. It usually takes about 30 days. Okay, now moving on. So after you have your business properly set up and everything is in place, okay, the next thing is, how do banks approve you for 0% business credit cards? Now you have to have these things in line to go ahead and get approved for these cards. There's two ways to actually getting funding. So there's ones where there's one way where you can actually leverage your personal credit, and the other one is to leverage your business credit. Okay. So usually business credit takes a lot longer to build up. It could take up to 6 months to actually build your business credit. Where basically what that means is that you can get business funding, okay, which is called with no PG, which is no personal guarantee. Okay. Now, yes, that sounds great, but it also takes a lot longer to get all of that set up and all of those numbers to show up as far as your NAV scores and things like that. But we'll get into that in another video. So what we were going to talk about is leveraging your personal credit to get business funding, which basically is a great way to leverage to start your business. So the biggest thing and the greatest thing is you'll leverage your personal credit to get these business cards, right? But the business cards you can actually max out. So if you have a $25,000 business card and you max that out at $25K, that doesn't report on your personal credit, which is why this is such a great strategy to go ahead and start or expand your actual HVAC business. All right. So now what are the credentials to go ahead and actually getting funding? So this is the entire breakdown that you'll need to see how you can actually go and get funding. So you want your credit score ideally to be a 700 or above. Okay. Your utilization on all personal credit cards under 30%. Now what that means is basically you want to keep how much you're spending compared to the whole limit under 30%. So for example, if you have a credit card that has $10,000 limit on it, you don't want to spend more than $3,000 on that card. And every single card you have, you want to make sure it's under that 30%. Ideally, you want it under 10%, and at best, you want it under 5%. Okay? But overall, you definitely want to be under 30%. Otherwise, it will start to affect your credit score, and banks are to also pretty much start to see you as a little bit more higher risk. Okay? The other thing is a minimum of 4 personal credit card accounts open. So when if you have a credit card and you have not used it, okay, for a long time, right, and it has a high limit, a couple $1,000s, whatever it is, don't close the card. Just because you don't use it doesn't mean it helps. It doesn't mean it does not help you, okay, because it does. So if you have a card that you're not using, leave it open and just let it stay on your credit report, because that builds your age history, which is another factor that is in your entire credit report, okay? But overall, you want to have a minimum of 4 personal credit card accounts, with the highest limits possible, okay? The other thing is the average credit age across all accounts, like I was mentioning before. So if you have an old credit card that you don't use, leave it open. Do not close it, all right? Because the banks want to see that you've had credit cards and the age is over 2 years. Now, if you're new and you're starting to build your credit, there's other things that you can do, like what we call as trade lines, where basically you can become an authorized user on somebody else's account with a high limit, and also that'll report to your credit report, which can overall bring up your age in case you're under the 2-year mark. So, and we actually help our clients do that as well. So if you have like a credit age of a year, we can actually help you get trade lines and be able to get your age over 2 years. And we can do things like get you a $15,000 high limit credit card as an authorized user. And then basically with an age history of, pretty much above 2 years, when we can go up as high as 30 years. So that's basically how that works for that. The next thing is, so no late payments the last 24 months. Okay. So this is super important. So if you've had any late payments, okay, the banks will flag this as high risk, and that you don't know how to take care of your finances, or you don't know how to pay your bills, and they see this as a red flag. Okay. Now, there is a couple things we actually do for our clients. So if you do have a late payment, we can actually remove those really quickly, okay, before we actually go and get funding. But the other big thing is you overall just make sure you don't miss your late payments. You can set up a reminder at the end of the month or at the beginning of the month as a personal notification. And then also setting up auto payment is always good as well to make sure that your bills are being paid pretty much automatically. But I would double check always as you go through those processes. The next thing is no negative items. So you want to make sure you have no bankruptcies, no collections, no charge-offs. If you have any of these, they will automatically deny you. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. So you want to make sure that you get all of these removed off your credit report. We also help clients with that as well. The next thing is, so minimum of one personal credit card with a limit of $10,000. The reason that this is super important is because banks look at your personal credit and they're like, how much has this person handled as far as high limit credit cards, and were they able to pay that back? So if you have a credit card that has a $10,000 limit on it, they're like, oh, okay, great. This person has a 700 plus credit score. They don't have any derogatories. They don't have any negative remarks. They have a credit card that is $10,000. They haven't maxed it out. They don't have any late payments, and it looks good on their report. So that means that when you go and get a business credit card, they'll be able to give you double, triple, quadruple that. Okay, so that's why that's super important, that you want to make sure that you have at least one card that has a $10,000 limit on it. All right. Now, to give you a little bit more information on the business side of things, so we won't go too much into this, but there is other ways to build your business credit. So what you do is you basically just create what's called a Net 30 account, and you can use Uline, Quill, Granger, and CEO Creative, for example. You can make 4 to 5 purchases. Basically, just get 2 purchases on each one of these in your Net 30 account, so that way it reports to your business credit, and then pay them in 21 days later. And this just basically builds payment history. So this is something that you can do on the side when it comes to building your business credit, okay, which is no PG, which is no personal guarantee. All right. And then going back to the personal side of things. So when you go ahead and have all of these things in place, the 700 credit score, utilization under 30%, 4 minimum personal credit cards, your age history is over 2 years, you have no late payments, no negative remarks, and you have a credit card at least a $10,000 limit. Okay. The first couple cards that you'll want to apply for is banks like Chase. So Chase can give you I've seen them give you $50,000 to $75,000 on one card, okay, or between multiple cards, and you can move balances as well between the cards also. So this is super important to apply in this order. So I'm going to give you basically the first 4 banks that are awesome to hit, okay, after you have all these credentials in a line, okay. So first is Chase, the second would be Amex, third would be US Bank, and fourth would be PNC. Now with these cards, you can literally get $100,000 off rep just off of these 4. But you have to make sure that you have everything in line and everything looks good as far as when you apply for these credit cards. All right. And then also we can also leverage, your revenue as well. If you have an established HVAC business, if you don't, that's okay. But if you do have an established HVAC business, we can leverage this also to make sure that you go ahead and get approved. All right. And the other thing, just as a side note, so with good personal credit, you can get $50K or more in less than 2 weeks, even if your business is brand new. So if you just started an LLC, in literally within 2 weeks, we can go ahead and get everything set up for you, all right, and go ahead and get you applied and get you $50,000 right off rep, all right? Now, scaling with leverage. So using funding to buy tools, hire technicians, run ads, and secure more contracts, all right? So you want to make sure that you're leveraging all of the funding that you're getting for your business. All right, because if you're getting this, you have to have a reason to get funding. If you don't have a reason to get funding, you're just wasting time, and you're basically just going to get a bunch of credit cards that are going to have really, opportunities, but you have to leverage that for something. You have to, basically get money to make money. All right, and that's what you're doing while getting funding. You're basically taking all the funding that you're getting and using that to leverage for your business. All right. So the other thing is, so you can do a float across 0% credit cards, which is why this is such a great way to go ahead and grow your business also. All right. So funding is a fuel. It's not a crutch. So understand that when you get all of the funding, it will be the best and fastest way for you to go ahead and grow your business. All right. So I'm going to give you just a little example for you to take with you, okay, that I think will be super, super beneficial for you, and you'll be able to see everything broken down. All right. So let's say that we get funding for you, right? Or you get funding on your own. Let's say you get $100,000 in funding. All right. So to get it up and running will cost between $25,000 and $50,000, which we went through before. All right. And that is if you want to start your HVAC business, or if you want to expand your HVAC business to another location, or expand the one that you're currently in. Okay. As far as that location. Right. So you take the 25 to 50K, all right, that we get you at 0% interest, and you use that to get everything that you need. Then you have 50K still left to leverage working capital. So you spent the 25 to 50K first on getting all of everything you needed to start the business or expand it. All right. And then you have another 50K that you can actually use for working capital. All right. So that's why it's super important to make sure that you get as much funding as you possibly can, which is what we do for our clients. So that way you can go ahead and leverage this for your business. All right. So you can literally get 50K to basically start your entire business. and then you'll get another 50K of working capital. All right. Now, to break this down into a little bit more into the business side of things on running one, there's three main factors. So there's marketing, right? Which marketing gets you leads and more customers through the door. There's sales, which gets you the money. And then there's fulfillment, which keeps your business going on the day-to-day basis. All right. So that is why you're leveraging all of this capital. You're leveraging it to start your business, get everything that you need to be successful, and then use the 50K for working capital to go ahead and grow your business. All right. I also want to put a side note in there that I actually own a marketing agency as well. So what we do is after we get our clients funding, if you're interested in going ahead and getting marketing for your business to get up and launch as fast as possible, then you can let us know and we'll go ahead and send you over to our marketing team. And that way you can leverage and get your business running off the ground as fast as possible. Okay. But although I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you got a lot of value from it. If you're interested in getting funding with us where we get you $50,000 to $150,000 or more, okay, go ahead and book a call down in the description. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I look forward to seeing you and help your business grow faster.